Hey guys, let's talk about the adorable episode 34 of KIRAKIRA PRECURE, which actually starts a series of episodes in which we're gonna have some unusual duos in this season. So in this episode, we've had CL together with Yukari. Next episode, we're gonna have Aoi and Himari, and in the next one, we're gonna have Akira with Ichika. So this episode was focused on the two of them, but I think that the focus was a little more on Yukari. I don't know if I was the one that was paying attention to Yukari the most, but I think that Yukari was the one who was actually the center of this episode. And this episode was very, very nice. If we're thinking about the plot of the season, this episode didn't bring much, apart from new information about Diablo. Diablo is a new villain, and well, I talked about that new villain in the last video, but I think that what's the most interesting thing about Diablo is that he's not in his last form, in his real form yet, and he is restoring power. And one of Diablo's power is actually disrupting people and making people fight against each other. And that's a very interesting power, and it's very... I don't know if that's very creative, but that can make lots of interesting situations in an anime, and that's what happened in this episode. But the main point of this episode was actually Yukari turning into a cat. So we've seen in the last episodes that the girls are with their animals, their animal crystals, and the animal crystals they brought animals, little animals that are following them. And Yukari is obviously with a little cat with her, and I loved that scene in the beginning that she was playing with the cat and she was talking about how fall is arriving, Independence Fall now, I think. And so that means that she needed a hat, and she just created a macaron hat for the little cat. And that was so cute because Yukari was having so much fun with that, and Yukari is that kind of person who struggles to have fun with things. So she likes to enjoy herself, but she struggles a lot finding things to entertain her, and that was one of those things. And at the same time, that cat ran away from the forest, and we've had a little strange moment between Yukari and CL at that forest. I was a little confused because Yukari seemed to be hiding something, but she wasn't really hiding anything. She was just playing with her cat and she was just following it. So I don't really think that I got what that scene was trying to show us. I have no idea, but anyways, Yukari was playing with her cat. She was following her cat around, and then after a little moment, they switched personalities. And I think that was probably the nicest thing about this episode. That's what made the episode run. But I think that the nicest thing was that the cat turned into a Yukari version of a cat. But Yukari ended up being her normal self. You know, Yukari, the human, having the personality of the cat, she didn't change her form, her presentation, but the cat did, and the cat became a Yukari version of a cat, and that was so cute. And the most interesting thing was that when Yukari turned into a cat, she was not scared. She was confused at first, but then after that, she was just like, let's do this. This is amazing. That's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun being a cat. And that's such a Yukari thing to do. It's so out there and it's so over the top, but at the same time, I think that's one of the nicest things about that character, which I love. You guys know that. And I think that the whole situation was very interesting. The whole fairies against cats fight was very interesting, and it was all because of Diablo's power. Diablo is trying to restore power, is trying to become his full-fledged version, and he still holds lots of grudges against Lumiere. And that's interesting because we thought before that Lumiere only sealed Noir away, but it was not the case. It seems that she also defeated Diablo in the past. I mean, it was obvious that she defeated Diablo in the past as well. So she probably sealed both of them, and maybe other villains that used to exist in the past, we don't know. And well, after that, I think that the idea of Yukari being a cat and the other girls not knowing about it and CL not knowing about it was key to what happened later, because the cats started fighting against the fairies, and Ciel and Pekoning, they had a great idea to bring and restore peace. And obviously, we're talking about KIRAKIRA Precure. That reasoning was sweets. So let's bring sweets to the cats, and they're gonna eat it, they're gonna love it, and we're gonna be together again. But it didn't work out because of Diablo's power, so they had to fight. But Yukari was there. Yukari was the cat. Yukari was the boss. Yukari was the cat boss, and she was obviously there, and she had a plan. But when I was watching the episode, I didn't realize what her plan was. You know, I just got it later when she was saying like, I'm the one that's gonna be here alone by myself, and I hadn't gotten it when I was watching it. I didn't really understand what she was trying to do. I knew she was trying to do something. I knew that she was probably she probably had a plan, and she knew what was going on, because, you know, we're talking about Yukari. Yukari is always ahead of the villains and of everything. You guys remember that Julio episode back then that she talked about a possible sister that she had? That was so amazing. That was so impactful. I loved that episode so much. And, you know, I think that Yukari really has a very sharp mind, and she knows what's going on, and she knows how to deal with the conflict in a very smart way. And that's what she did in this episode. But I think that there was a little problem in that scene in which she was in the cliff, and then she was going to sacrifice herself, and she was saved by Ciel / Kirarin. But at the same time, that sacrifice didn't really make sense to me, because how was Yukari going to save herself after falling off that height if she wasn't saved by Ciel and the other cats and the other fairies? They all worked together to save her. How, what would happen to her? And she didn't really think about that. And I'm saying that because I don't think that the whole saving her situation was a part of her plan, because she was actually surprised when everybody came together to save her, because her sacrifice would be enough for the two groups to make up, right? So I don't know what she was really thinking. I don't know if she was thinking of trying to transform while she was falling. I don't know, but that didn't really make sense. And even if she had a plan before, it wasn't said to us. It wasn't really explained to us, so it doesn't really matter. And I think that one thing that this episode really missed, and that was a very big wasted opportunity, was exploring more of Yukari's cat personality in the human form. I mean, the girls were weirded out by Yukari, and they didn't understand why she was acting strange, but we could have had a little more scenes of her acting like of the cat version of Yukari. No, the human cat version. You guys understand, right? The human form of Yukari with a cat inside of her. We could have had more scenes and more comedic scenes. They would be gorgeous. I'm pretty sure of that. But anyway, I think that the little scene that we had of Yukari just going there eating the sardines that Akira brought for her grandmother, it was so funny and it was really nice. But they could have had done more with that. They had such a great thing in their hands. But unfortunately, I think that they didn't really have time to work that out, right? Because then obviously the cat Yukari found Diable and she confronted him. It was so nice seeing her confronting the cat and confronting the villain as the cat, and she exposed his plans to himself, but she did, and now at least one of the main characters know why people fight and know how they can fight that. And well, she was able to discover that while in cat form, and all that she did was because of that. And I think that Ciel not noticing and Pekoring not noticing that Yukari, that cat was Yukari, was a little too much. But the scene when Ciel noticed, when actually Cure Parfait noticed who Yukari really was at that time was pretty amazing. And CL said something very interesting to Yukari that I particularly liked, and I think that it resonates a lot with her personality, which was, you don't like, oh my god, you don't like talking about things. You do things, but you don't like talking about them, so we don't understand you sometimes. I don't think that she actually said it, but I think that that's more or less what she meant, because Yukari is not someone who talks a lot. She actually acts more than talks. She lets her acting do the talking. So with her actions, she does her talking, and that's what she did in this episode. And I love that. It's so Yukari. It's so about her personality and about who she is. She doesn't really open up a lot, because people who tend to talk and tend to explain themselves, they try to open up a lot, and Yukari doesn't. She tries to keep things to herself, but she likes intimacy, she likes relationships. It's just that she uses those things in a different way. She expresses those things in different ways. And I really loved that. And seeing both of them acting together and fighting together was nice, even though the fight was very short. I loved seeing Parfait fighting with the cat Yukari in her hands, and she's trying to protect the cat, even though she didn't know it was Yukari at that time. She tried to protect the cat, and she tried to protect her. She tried to fight, but then obviously KIRAKIRA came back, and then they fought together. It was really nice. I really liked that part of this episode, even though the fight was very short. I liked them fighting together. It was very nice. And yeah, I think that this episode was very cute. Not a very important episode to the whole series and to the whole plot of the season, but I think that this episode was very charismatic, and that's the biggest thing about KIRAKIRA PRECURE: charisma. The characters have a lot of charisma, and I love seeing them interacting with each other. And right at the end of the episode, I think the big cat, the boss cat, he saw something in Yukari, because, well, Yukari is the only one he lets pet him. Oh my god, and that scene when the cats were trying to fight Yukari and she was able to gain them with her powers, the cat Yukari. Oh my god, that's so Yukari. That's such a Yukari thing to do, and that's amazing. And I think that the boss cat noticed there was something special about Yukari at the end of the episode. I don't know if he noticed that she was the cat that helped them. I think that's what the case was. But I know that that he saw something special in her. I'm pretty sure of that. So yeah, I think that's all about this episode. Next episode is going to be amazing because we have two great characters together, and I'm very curious to see their relationship, and I'm very curious to see how their friendship is going to develop. I think that Aoi feels... Aoi's probably fond of... I forgot her name. Oh my god. Himari. Aoi's probably very fond of Himari, but Himari is probably very shy, and she doesn't really have enough confidence to consider herself a friend of Aoi's. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be one of the points of the plot on the next episode. And I'm pretty sure that they're going to develop that in a good way. I really hope so, because I like both characters a lot, and I'm gonna love seeing them more as friends and, bonding together. That's gonna be amazing. Sorry for the long video again. I really need to talk less. Sorry about that. So please leave a comment. Let's talk about this episode. Let's discuss the nice points about it. This episode was amazing. I really, really loved it. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye bye.